Right, what's going on guys? This is Liam here. Right now I'm going to talk about fasting. So I talk a lot about how fasting helps tinnitus, but more recently I've been talking about how maybe you should do something else before you fast. And I've been saying that for a long time. I always say consult your doctor before you fast, and you should. I don't know your medical history. But we're going to talk about something very different here in this video. It's something that I've been hearing a lot about. There's a lot more coming out about it, and that thing is veganism. And as the title of this video says, if you can't fast, go vegan. Now, what do I mean by that? And you can see here, this is the best pork ribs in Bali, because all I really eat now is meat. And if it's not by choice, it's by, I kind of force myself to do it because I like the taste of plants. I like the taste of carbohydrates. I love it, I love fruit, it tastes delicious. But we need to start looking at food as a medicine, as vegetables and fruits and meat as a medicine. And by that I mean there's a time and there's a place. So back to the fasting, okay? In other videos I've gone over in here quite a lot of detail about the benefits of fasting and exactly how it helps tinnitus. I've done diagrams, I've done longer videos, I've done explanations about the electrons and protons and photons and how mitophagy and autophagy all takes place and how it fixes your ears and fixes your brain and fixes your organs and fixes your liver, okay? And will help tinnitus, okay? Along with other things, you've got to do exercise, muscle release, meditation. You've got to talk about the Wi-Fi, you've got to talk about the light in your house, the light in your room. I had somebody the other day who texted me and said, you know what, Liam, you're actually right about this whole light thing. He started turning off the light in his classroom and started opening up the window and letting the sunlight come in, and this particular person you can see on Instagram doesn't get spikes anymore. Now, why is that? I'll cover that in another video. I think I've spoken about light in detail, but in this video we're going to talk about veganism. Okay, if you can't fast, go vegan. What am I talking about there? Veganism is a fasting diet, okay? Almost nothing is absorbable when you eat plants, okay? Carbohydrates can be a different story, okay? And certain foods from Asia can be a different story too, certain plants. But if you're looking at most every single plant, talking about broccoli, spinach, avocado, nuts, oils, okay? None of that is absorbable. I don't care what a study says. I don't care what, when I say study, I mean a study paid for by people who own grain companies. And speaking of being lied to by companies, you probably would have seen by now, if you're watching my channel, you're interested in health, you've done some research, you would have seen this Game Changers documentary coming out. Arnold Schwarzenegger is in it, James Cameron is directing it, and I think he produced it as well. And it's a total crock of shit. The biggest problem I see with it is that James Cameron has millions and millions of dollars of shares in a pea protein company. And that's all the documentary is. It's a promotion for pea protein, saying, look how good it is, look how useful it is, look how big we can get. Okay, so let's talk about because it's about athletes. Game Changers is about athletes in this documentary. It's about weightlifters, it's about sprinters, okay? It was about ninja warriors, okay? So let's look at this. Tim Sheaf, who was a very, very famous ninja warrior. He was breaking all the records. He was the champion. He was the godchild, the god of veganism. Everyone was like, oh my God, Tim Sheaf. He's like, look at this guy. Look how good he is, right? He's so good, he's amazing, and he's a vegan. Okay, first of all, he got where he was eating meat. Same with Arnold Schwarzenegger. For those of you who don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was not famous until he met someone called Vince Gironda. Now, Vince Gironda was an Italian who lived in America. Okay, when Arnold Schwarzenegger moved from Austria, he won Mr. Austria, he came over to America and he trained in Los Angeles with Vince Gironda. Vince Gironda, guess what he did? Same thing I'm getting you guys to do. Fasting, okay, eating liver, okay. Also, he gets him to take betaine, hydrochloric acids for the stomach, okay, to get shredded, to get big, to get healthy, to get beautiful. Okay, and what else did he do? No grains, and god damn it, no plants and no nuts and no fruits and no seeds, okay? All that shit, Vince Gironda knew, and Vince Gironda is responsible for making people beautiful and healthy, okay? He lives a very, very long life. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, for Arnold Schwarzenegger to come out now and say that veganism is the way to live is hypocritical, okay? As far as I can see, he's a total scam artist. I don't know if he has shares in the pea protein company, but he certainly has emotional stock in James Cameron, as James Cameron made him famous in the movie industry with the Terminator. Anyway, back to Tim Sheaf. Tim Sheaf was supposed to be in the movie The Game Changers, the vegan athlete movie. But unfortunately, Tim Sheaf got injured. Now, every single athlete is going to get some form of injury. Cristiano Ronaldo, okay? LeBron James, Tiger Woods, they're going to get elbow injuries, they're going to get a neck injury, especially if you're a boxer or something like that. But you come back, you heal. What happened with Tim Sheep? He didn't heal. He started to get worse, okay? His injury got worse and worse and he wasn't healing. And he had to pull out, well, got kicked out of being in a Game Changers movie, documentary. I would call it I would call it a mockumentary, because it's such a fucking joke that the amount of people who are going to get sick and injured from watching this and thinking that it's science is going to be it should be a lawsuit. It should be a class action lawsuit taken out against James Cameron for pushing this shit. Anyway, so we're going to get into veganism in a second, don't worry. And I'm not just bashing it, okay? There is an absolutely time and place to eat plants because they're useful, they're cleansing, they kill parasites, and they can pull toxins out of your body. Especially herbs like cilantro, coriander, whatever you call it, but there's a time and place. So Tim Sheep got kicked out. Let's talk about the documentary, okay? Kicked out, pulled out, whatever you want to call it, because obviously he wasn't a vegan anymore. He did a whole documentary, he went on TV, he went on morning shows to say, yeah, I'm not a vegan anymore because it's not healthy. Now, you know, and all the vegans on the internet just lost their minds. They made video where you do that thing where you get the video down here and you're pausing it and going through and talking about, oh, well, he didn't do it right. He didn't do it right. I'm fucking sorry. How many people have to not do it right? And where are the people who are doing it right? Because it seems to me that everybody who's a vegan for their entire lives are fucked. Mentally, physically, everything is wrong. I don't know if you guys have seen the children being raised by vegan mothers on a vegan diet, but it ain't good. One of them, the weightlifter, okay, I forget his name, I apologize for that, I should know it if I'm going to talk about it, but I forgot. The black dude, the weightlifter, he was an Olympic champion, meaning he participated in the Olympics, okay? And he lifted, after going vegan, I think it was like 3 months after going vegan, he lifted the heaviest weight of his entire career. And that's amazing. Now you could argue that it's not because he went vegan, it's because he kicked the bad food out of his life, the junk food and stuff like that and whatever he was eating. And of course, when you get in the fasted state, your human growth hormone, HGH, kicks in and you get bigger and stronger. But guess what? He didn't treat it as what it should be treated as, which is a temporary fasting diet, because you can't absorb anything from veganism, and we'll talk about that, and you just can't. It's not even like, you know, you can look at anecdotally and you can look at people. I live in Bali right now, and I can walk down the streets and literally pick out the people who are vegan. And it is not good, okay? They are anorexic, they're sick, they're as tall as me. I weigh about 100 kilos. People who are as tall as me and vegans must weigh about 60 kilos. Thighs that big. You can look at the size that I put on recently. I go to the gym maybe twice a week. That's it. And all I do is eat meat. Feel better, better bowel movements, better sleep in this amazing bed. But you get what I'm trying to say. I blocked out all the light from here. This actually, there's a light out there and I blocked that out. I block all this out. Anyway, the athletes, the runner, the girl from Australia, she's actually running the slowest time of her entire life. That guy I was talking about before, the weightlifter, the Olympics, clean and jerk, I think it's called. He is now, you know, lifting the lowest weight he's ever lifted, and he had the worst performance of his entire life. Patrick Babuiman, who's an absolute joke, whose world records were the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Imagine, if you will, that the world's strongest man, okay, and the Arnold Classic, the only competitions that actually make a difference and anyone cares about and anyone shows up to, okay, they have certain distances for the yoke walk, which is where you get the bar above your head and then you hold the incredibly heavy weights and then you walk like this, okay? So let's say, I don't know what the distance is, but let's say it's 10 meters. You have to lift, you know, like 500 kilos or whatever it is, or 300 kilos, whatever it's going to be. Okay, 10 meters. Then you got to stand up and go and drop it. What Patrick Babuiman did is he's like, I don't want to come to your party. I'm going to make my own party. So what did he do? He went to Veg Fest in Germany, whatever it is. I think he's a German bloke. And he set the record for 11 meters. Okay, do you get what I'm saying? Because no one wants to do that. So he did 11 meters and then he did it on a lighter weight. And of course, he set the world record, but no one else is trying to do it. He did a lighter weight, and not only that, if you look at the footage of him doing it, he dropped it halfway. He didn't even do it. And he did another thing where the point was to hold the weight out like this. Okay, you're supposed to hold the weight out. It's like straight arms, like this. And it was like that the entire time. He was like this. Okay, he couldn't even hold it out, and they still passed it because, you know, they're just like, oh, whatever, like there's so many people here, we would be weird if he didn't pass it. And also now he's not even invited to the world's strongest man, he's not even close, and he just eats, vegetarian food and all this ridiculous stuff. And the other athletes as well, they're all performing worse than they ever have. Back to that Australian girl, there are 14-year-old girls in America who can run faster than her now. And here's the thing, it all comes from misinformation, and it really does. This girl, why did she go vegan, you ask? Why did this pro athlete, who right now should be at the peak of her career and just killing it, and endorsements and and like killing it and being like representing Australia where I'm from, guess what made her decide to go vegan? Her boyfriend said it would be a good idea. And she just decided in a written interview, yeah, I just researched it and then I thought, this just seems so right to me. How fucking stupid. It's like when I see people who, for example, in the UK, there's a growing mass of people who follow Islam, okay? And they're in the street, and you can sign up like that. It's just a fucking, you have to accept Allah as your God or whatever preference is, and that's fine. Whatever religion you want to do is totally fine. But wouldn't it make more sense that if it was really worth something, it would be harder to get into if you really wanted people who knew what they were doing? Okay, just it's like training to be a doctor, training to be an athlete. You shouldn't just make it's seen as it's more of a virtuous thing than a health thing. So let's get into why it's a fasting diet. If you look at, let's look at it this way. Let's take minerals, okay? So let's say trace elements, okay? Let's include things like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, okay? Let's look at the calcium in spinach, okay? Liam, there's so much calcium in spinach, I'm gonna make a spinach smoothie, and my bones are gonna grow big and strong, and then I'm gonna be an athlete, okay? That makes perfect sense, but it only makes sense on paper. Why does this happen? What's going on? Why is it not absorbable? It's not as though, it's just like, oh, it's like putting a circular thing in a square hole, it's not gonna work. It kind of is like that when you look at the proteins, but if you look at the minerals, let's take calcium. Spinach is full of molecules called oxalates. Oxalates bind with calcium. An oxalate is a defense mechanism from a plant. It's oxalic acid. What happens is, oxalate from spinach is going to bind with calcium, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus in your brain. In your brain, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus are responsible for pulling toxins out of your brain, whether they're pollutants, okay, whether it's mercury, whether it's things like bromine, lactate, acetate, acetaldehyde, ethanol, whatever it's going to be, okay, whether you've metabolized too many carbohydrates and you've got those waste products floating around in your bloodstream, in your brain, in your nervous system, okay, you can have them in the neurons inside your nervous system, you can have issues with tau proteins, you can have issues with cytoskeletons, whatever it is, okay? Calcium is great for pulling that stuff out. What does it do? It attaches itself, it binds itself to those toxins that are just listed, and it can pull them out of where? Your ears, your eyes, your nose, your gums, okay? Or your skin, okay? This is why people can experience spikes when they start taking things like iodine, selenium, Celtic sea salt, incredibly bad spikes. You could be pulling bromine out of your thyroid, especially if you're a woman and you have a history of antidepressants, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, high fruit content such as sodium salicylates, okay, high carbohydrate content which contains opioid peptides which need to be dragged out as well. A whole bunch of shit. The point, what I'm trying to say is, oxalates will inhibit your body's capacity to detox your brain and nervous system. Now, why are there toxins in your brain and nervous system in the first place? What's even the point? Why would the body put them there? The body seeks out fat, okay, as a place to store toxins because it perceives that is the place that it will do the least amount of damage. Once again, I live here in Bali. I will be driving on my bike, and of course there's always girls with mini skirts and they're showing half their ass and they're showing their, because everyone wants to be an Instagram influencer these days, whatever it's going to be. And once again, I can pick out the vegans. Why could I pick them out? Because they're the ones with cellulite. They're the ones who are 18, 17, 19 years old, who are skinny and have all the side great body, but they have cellulite on the back of their legs, cellulite on their stomach, okay? Which makes no sense that a girl that age should have that, okay? But it's the storing of what? Vegetable oils, okay? When you cook with vegetable oils, that shit is not even vegetables. People don't realize it's not vegetables, it's just shit. And it gets stored in fat. Unfortunately, it also gets stored in your brain and your nervous system, okay? In the neurons, it affects your neurons and it causes a whole bunch of problems. So when you eat, let's say you eat vegetable oils, which is bullshit, and then you eat then it crystallizes, by the way, which causes it crystallizes, and he oxalates. Okay, well, if you just have the vegetable oil like this, then maybe the calcium and magnesium, potassium could drag it out of your skin. But no, you decided to have oxalates as well. That spinach and kale smoothie you had in the morning with berries, which makes you more sensitive to the sun. You thought it was such a good idea, but now you've just royally fucked yourself. So not only do you have this shit in your body, but you can't drag it out, okay? So, back to what I was saying before, let's talk about the actual benefit of plants and vegetables. The main benefit that I've seen of plants and vegetables in people with tinnitus is getting rid of parasites, okay? Whether you call it coriander or cilantro, thyme and basil. Those ones are absolutely fantastic and they can pull out parasites. You have to cycle them on and off, you have to have large amounts, and you can blend it with ice if you want and water and drink it, and kind of like, if you can imagine, you know, having like a mocktail or a cocktail, but it's just water and that and a bit of ice. You don't want to kill the enzymes, okay? Another thing that people don't realize is this. This is an argument that vegans often make, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Okay, apart from socialism. Okay, so this isn't a MAGA hat, just so you know, but this is about tinnitus, and it is about tinnitus. Okay, vegans will say this, you know, why don't we just cut out the middlemen? Why don't we just cut out, and by the way, vegetarians is different. If you want to eat mostly plants and you want to have eggs and fish, that's fine, because what are you doing? You're fasting, and then you're having good sources of protein. You're fasting with the vegetables, and you're having good sources of protein. That's fine, but it's going to take you a lot longer to get silenced, whereas you could just do a water fast or a dry fast, and instead of, when you're fasting with vegetables, you're relying on the vegetables to do the cleaning, but there's also a downside, whereas you could just water fast or dry fast, and you could let your mitochondria do the cleaning with mitochondria, mitophagy and autophagy, and it'll be a lot faster. It's going to be a lot more painful, and it's going to suck a lot more, so you might be better off doing going vegetarian for a while. But then it's going to take longer. So it depends what you want to do. And of course you could already have oxalate poisoning, so it's going to give you problems. I've got a guy at the moment who, whenever he eats plants, he gets eczema straight away, and he gets bowel problems. I think he gets bowel problems straight away because he has oxalate poisoning. There's too many oxalates, and it's the body trying to kick the crystals out. By the way, if you have visual snow, guess where oxalate crystals store? By the way, it bonds with the calcium and causes crystals, insoluble, undigestible crystals. Okay, guess where they store? In the eyes. Look it up. Oxalates storing in the eyes. What is also a side effect of oxalate poisoning? Cracking and popping in the jaw. Okay, could also contribute to, if you open your jaw or bend your neck, you could have problems with oxalates in your jaw and here. Okay, I have a lot of people who come to me and say, Liam, I have TMJ, and I say, cut out the fruits and vegetables, and they say, Liam, I don't have TMJ. I say, no fucking shit. You had plant poisoning. Okay. So there's so many things that I want to talk about, but let's go back to the dumbest things that vegans say. Remind me to talk about Nero and Rome and Greece in 37 AD. It's very, very interesting. But we'll go to the dumbest things that the vegans say. The vegans say, let's cut out the middleman. Let's cut out the middleman, meaning animals. Because here's what happens in the way the world's supposed to work. You get a rabbit, and the rabbit goes around. So let's use a cow, because everyone knows about cows and people can probably relate to this. You get a cow, as there are here in Bali, so many, and the cow goes around, and the cow can get every single nutritional requirement it needs for the entirety of its whole life, okay, from grass. Now, of course, it gets milk from its mother in the beginning, but of course, where is that milk coming from, okay? It's come from the grass. Just like if you have a mother who's pregnant with you and she drinks alcohol, or she drinks alcohol when she's breastfeeding you, or she smokes crack, or she has lots of processed food, you're going to have developmental and brain problems because you're getting it straight from there. It's not like you have a system that can completely eradicate all its toxins. You have to urinate them out, and unfortunately some get through into the breast milk. My point being, grass is 100% the food that cows want. Grass, sunlight, and iodine, that is perfect. You have a beautiful animal that we can eat, okay? So have the grass, cow grazes on the grass, eats the grass. We come up with one of those no country for old men guns, shoot it in the head, and it dies before it knows what's even going on. Then we eat it, drink its blood through raw meat. You don't have to drink its blood, okay? You can have its dairy as well, but I see a lot of people who cut out dairy and tinnitus gets better. I believe due to congestion through, you can get swelling, which can affect the sphenoid bone, and you can get all sorts of eustachian tube problems. So I would just avoid dairy, whether it's raw or fermented, okay? So there's a lot of things I want to get through, but I can try and keep it quick. Next thing, so how is a cow digesting that grass? First of all, it's pretty fucking obvious that humans can't eat grass. Give it a go, please. Go and eat the feed that cows get in feedlots. Let's see if you last a week, okay? You'd be dead. You wouldn't even digest it. You would have to get your stomach pumped. You'd need surgery to get that shit out. Anyway, how do cows, ask a vegan this or anyone this, okay? And if they don't know it, don't make fun of them. It's just, everyone, with their doctors telling you to be vegan and documentaries, why wouldn't you go vegan? It makes sense. But here's what doesn't make sense. A cow does not digest the grass. It doesn't. Even with its 4 stomachs and low pH level, high acidity, high levels of hydrochloric acid, okay, and a long time to break it down, it starts digesting it in the beginning, and then by the 4th stomach, then it absorbs it when it's in the intestines. But a cow does not actually break it down. It doesn't break down the plants. It's impossible for a cow, the enzymes of a cow, to break down the plants, the grass. So what's breaking it down? The microbiome, the foreign microbiome. So what does that mean? The bugs inside of the cows break it down. They break out, if you want to call it like very layman's term, the shield around it, okay? They break down the acid, they digest it, and they poop it out back into the cow. And then when it gets to the 4th stomach, then it can actually absorb it and extract the elements. This is like when you look at, let's say, you see these really, really stupid, like unbelievably stupid. It's like a picture, and then it's split down the middle, and it's like got, it's got like a can of kidney beans, which is, by the way, one of the most toxic things on the face of the earth. And then you have a steak, and it's like the comparison. And it's like, here's the protein, here's the calcium, here's everything that's so good about it, here's how long the energy lasts, here's the side effects. And one of the things says meat, high cholesterol, and then it's like kidney beans, no cholesterol. That's bad. You want cholesterol. Okay, every single cell in your entire body needs cholesterol in order for the electricity to go through the cytoskeleton and function. Guess what needs electricity? Guess what part of your body drains some of the most electricity compared to any other part of your body? Your ears. The endoplasmic reticulum, the folded proteins inside your ears, need electricity, and they need cholesterol. Your heart sits in a chamber of fat. Your spine is covered in fat. Your brain is almost all fat. Your nervous system is all fat. You need cholesterol for that to function. Okay, it's a total joke. So, humans, as I said with the cows and the microbiome, humans don't have the same biome. We have the microbiome, so we don't have the ability to break that down. Okay, so people would say, oh yeah, but of course, everyone knows that humans can't eat grass, so they'll just we'll have mangoes, and we'll have berries, and humans are frugivores and all this stupid shit, and we have this and blah blah blah, like you're eating chicken periods. But the fact of the matter is that you need meat. You really, really need meat. But you can still get a benefit from plants. Here's how I see it if you wanted to know what I would do for tinnitus, okay? What I recommend people do now. If you can't dry fast, water fast. If you can't water fast, go vegan. Now, let's be sensible with the veganism. No beans, no legumes, no berries, no cherries, no fruits, just the veggies, okay? Just the herbs and the veggies. Cilantro / coriander, thyme and basil, okay? No beans, as I said, and go for the broccoli, okay? Go for the seaweed, okay? Go for the cruciferous vegetables. But unfortunately, guess what a cruciferous vegetable does? Okay, it blocks your thyroid's capacity to goitrogen. It blocks your thyroid's capacity, its ability to absorb iodine. What does iodine do? Iodine fuels the thyroid. What does the thyroid gland do? Your thyroid gland is the biggest regulator of your adrenal glands, located on your back here, okay, above your kidneys, about this big. What do your adrenal glands do? They're responsible for regulating melatonin and cortisol secretion. They affect your sleep. What's one of the biggest benefits of sleep? Autophagy. Okay, what's the benefit of autophagy? Recycling the cells in your ears. What's the benefit of that? Less cells, less wastage, less space taken up, okay? More functionality, less sensitivity to noise, okay? There's multiple studies that show, and I hate using studies because you can research something and angle it any way you want. The best thing for you guys to do is to stop making up excuses as to why you can't start today. I've heard it all before. You can comment anything you like. I've heard it all before. I had someone today comment in my Facebook group and say, hey Liam, I don't like taking the iodine with salt water. Yeah, what can I have instead? And I just said, this isn't a restaurant. Guys, this is not supposed to be easy. Stop taking the easy way out. okay? Sure, start with whatever you want. I'm not saying, oh, well, I've just got to hit it so hard and do everything all at once. That's a stupid idea. That's a very dumb idea. Start with getting more sunlight. But remember, you got to understand, if you're eating a high level of sodium salicylate, so you're having non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or you're having painkillers, or you're having fruits, berries, cherries, the level of salicylates there, what they're going to do is two things. They're going to make your skin more sensitive to the sun, and they're going to inhibit your inhibit your ability to digest proteins and break them down through blocking your enzymes in your liver and gallbladder. So what does that mean? Okay, let's say you're eating a whole bunch of fruit and you're sitting in the sun. Your ability to process and digest meat has just been inhibited, and you're more likely to get a rash and get burnt. I was helping a lady a little while ago, and she said, Liam, I did what you said, and I get about 10 minutes of sun a day, but it's weird, I don't get burnt. I just get this rash sort of thing. And I said, you're too high in salicylates. Cut out the fruits, cut out the nuts, cut out the berries, cut out the cherries, cut out the mangoes, cut out the legumes, cut out the beans, and she was also on painkillers too. So obviously she spoke to her doctor about that. I'm not going to tell her to take medication or not take it. That would be very responsible of me. And so she cut out the plant foods, and with her doctor's permission, most of the painkillers, I believe. And guess what? As much time in the sun as she wants, okay, and doesn't get burned. And she's getting vitamin D. She's building the structured water around her cell. She's taking in electricity. She's promoting tau proteins and phosphorylation, which is a whole different. I'm not just pulling shit out of my ass here. This is not just things that it's like, oh, I'm just making up shit. This is stuff that works, and then I go back and see, okay, what was the mechanism of this and why did it work? And we can understand that and work for that. These steps work. I'm making these videos just to go back and fill in the blanks in between and say, oh, this is why it works. Not that anyone should even care in the first place, okay? You should just give it a go. I've had people who say, oh, Liam, I would give your stuff a go, but you're not a doctor, you're not qualified. Thanks anyway. Well, enjoy your tinnitus. No, really, if you're only going to listen to qualified people, what does every single qualified person have to say about tinnitus, hyperacusis, pulsatile tinnitus, vertigo, Meniere's disease, and visual snow? What do they have to say? It's for life. There's research saying that it's for life, okay? And guys, how much money gets put into research that doesn't revolve around pharmaceuticals? None. And how many times has pharmaceuticals cured tinnitus? Basically none, okay? Almost no time at all. Only if you stop taking them. That's how pharmaceuticals are incorporated with tinnitus. I have people that say, oh yeah, I stopped taking NyQuil and my tinnitus went away. Oh yeah, I stopped taking benzodiazepines and my tinnitus went away. Oh yeah, I stopped taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs and my tinnitus went away. Oh yeah, I stopped taking Salifolk and my tinnitus went away. Okay, let's talk about toxicology. When did plants really begin to get studied? Okay, they begin to get studied under the reign of Nero, okay, in about 37 AD in Rome, okay? He was one of the last emperors in his era. I believe Rome was burnt recently after him, okay? So what happened was he had a physician, okay, I forget his name, I apologize, but he was studying toxicology. So what did he study? He studied plants, but he studied the benefits and the downfall of plants, okay? So the introduction of the study of plants at least noted, I'm sure it was studied before, but the actual writing down and, past the age of agriculture and stuff like that was actually to study how poisonous they were and how beneficial they were. And guess which one was more prominent? The study of poisons. Plants were used to kill Nero's politicians, political enemies, again and again and again and again. Hemlock, cowbane, which is the same thing. Socrates actually killed himself using hemlock, okay? So they were studied as toxins. Toxicologists today will still study plants, but in looking at how can we, because they say, okay, these plants kill cells, how can we, sort of change the makeup of it so it'll only kill cancer cells, okay? How can we change it so that it can only kill the histamines that are causing allergies? Plants are still studied, but it's like this weapon, and it's very, very volatile, and people are still trying to study it and figure out how we can sort of hijack it and use it to make money. That's the point of plants in a lot of how we use it. And then another use is basically tricking people. Almond milk, where you get oxalate poisoning. Coffee, oxalate poisoning. Okay, it's basically coffee is oxalate soup. Okay, quitting coffee is a great place to start. Once again, guys, do one thing at a time. There's really no rush. I mean, what's the rush? You obviously don't want to live the rest of your life with tinnitus, and you don't want to live many more days of tinnitus because I know how shit it is. But just start with something, okay? just start with getting cold water. Start kicking the cold shock proteins in. Start activating the tau proteins. If you want to look up tau proteins, TAU, look up tau proteins. All you have to do is type in microtubular associated proteins associated with neurological disorders. Okay, they're associated with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, which is the leading cause of dementia. Alzheimer's disease causes dementia. It's not the other way around. Again, cold shock proteins and temperatures and cold showers and saunas are being used to help those problems. Why do you think cold showers work so well for some people? Okay, but then again, why does it not work for other people? So there's still stuff to be done there, but all you got to do is test it. People say, I wish I could have, Liam, your perfect day. So my perfect day would be, obviously, I'm still, where is it? One sec. Oh, here we go. Still drinking this. Still doing the same thing, okay? I don't eat and drink at the same time. I don't eat carbohydrates. I don't eat plants. I don't eat lectins. All it is just pork, fat, beef, protein, liver, okay? I get in the sun. It's sunny as all hell right now. I do work. I work probably all day long. People say, hey Liam, how long do you work? I just wake up, start working, okay? I avoid electronics. My lights in my house are never ever on. Never on ever, okay? On my house, my apartment. Cold showers all the time. I go in the ocean, okay? I use the ocean instead of the shower because I don't want to get that the chlorine and fluoride in my thyroid. And guess what? I avoid bread because, you know, brominated flour, bromine will affect your thyroid too. Oh, Liam, that's so silly. Why should we avoid bread? We've been eating it for a long time. So, do you guys realize that, do you know what bread madness is? Do you know that in the age of agriculture, when people started using wheat, which has opioid peptides in it, people got addicted to carbohydrates and started getting schizophrenia, okay? Bread is horse shit. It's not essential for life. If you're going to eat large amounts of bread, go for it, but make sure you get enough vitamin C. You need vitamin C in order to absorb carbohydrates, which is not essential for human life, and plants. You need vitamin C. You're not going to get vitamin C from spinach because what we just said before, okay? Everything is not absorbable. There are different forms of vitamins. The vitamin A that exists in, let's say, an apple, is not the same as vitamin A that exists in meat, okay? You need retinol, okay? Iron as well, you need heme iron. If you think you're getting iron from plants, you're delusional. If your doctor says you should get iron from plants, you should find another doctor. You got to do your own research, okay? You got to think as well, you know? Plants can't run away, they have their own defense mechanisms to kill insects, okay? And hurt us perniciously over time. Here's the interesting thing. What are we made up of? Okay, we're made of electrons and photons, but up a level from that, we're made up of mitochondria, okay? Mitochondria, which contains salt water, go figure, salt water, essential for life, sodium, essential for life, and contains ATP, okay, which spins, and as it spins, it runs at 100% efficiency and is responsible for generating electricity, okay? What do plants do? They poison your mitochondria. Oh my God, okay? What do you need for your ears to work? Electricity. What's that function? The mitochondria. What's inside the mitochondria? Salt water and spinning, okay? What detoxes the thyroid? Salt, okay? What is in the shower? Bromine. What poisons your thyroid? Bromine. What is in bread? Bromine. What is in drugs? Halogens. What is a halogen? Okay, iodine, bromine, fluoride, and chlorine. What's the only one out of those that is actually good for us? Iodine. What's essential for life? Iodine. Can you get iodine from seaweed? Not anymore because of Fukushima, okay? It's all bullshit. Can you get it from sea life? Yes, to an extent. Where should you get it from? Lugal's iodine. How much should you take? Every day. Who should you talk to before you do any of this? Your doctor, okay? So that's what I want to talk about, but if you can't water fast, then if you can't dry fast, water fast. If you can't water fast, then try going vegan for a couple of days and see how you feel. If you feel better, that's great, but just know you're not absorbing shit. You're fasting, okay? And now, you can give that a go, but what would be the quickest way, Liam? Just water fast it. Just water fast it, okay? I don't care what it tastes like, okay? Speak to your doctor first. I'm not responsible for anything that happens to you, obviously. I'm just a guy on the internet. So, hope that helped. If you have questions, post below, and I'm going to go to the beach.